Hi, my name is Ziyang. I am an assistant professor at UC Berkeley in the Department of Chemistry and the Department of Molecular and Cellular Biology. In 2024, I received the PhRMA Foundation Faculty Startup Award in Drug Discovery. Very excited to be part of the family. I'm very good at being a nerd. So then, naturally, I kind of just, developed an affinity for all the scientific subjects. I did have a really, really good high school chemistry teacher. He's the type of person who never goes by the textbooks. And at the time, I thought he improvised all his lectures. But it turns out, I think he actually put a lot of thought into it to make it sound like he didn't prepare, but actually he teaches all the concepts very, very naturally. And then later, I just kept having great mentors who somehow gave this whole thing a purpose, right? You're not just studying for the sake of studying it. You see them being your role model, using their chemistry knowledge to change lives. Typically, we think of our immune cells as specialized in detecting things like viruses and sometimes cancer. And then they rely on what we call the recognition of protein and peptide matter. These are things that are made of amino acids. But then as a chemist, I got drawn by this class of cells that actually recognize fat molecules. Let's say you have a TB infection, and turns out the bacteria would make a different type of fat molecules, and some immune cells would recognize that. And then as I dug deeper into it, I realized that sometimes this process can go wrong too, and it can trigger diseases. So I'm interested in studying this and understanding what kind of chemical determinants is triggering the response and how they are navigating our cells and telling them what to do. But on a more nerdy level, we want to see how small molecules can reprogram natural killer T cell signaling, which in other ways we want to understand if we can use synthetic molecules, things we can make in the lab to understand the process and maybe alter it so that maybe we can tell these cells to attack cancer better, or maybe we can tell these cells to don't trigger allergic responses. So in a nutshell, that's what we're trying to do, but we really focus on the chemistry. So for me, it was actually when my first student came in my office and said, I want to join the lab. Truth be told, 2022 was a special time when I started. I had essentially an empty lab with nothing going on. And all I did was I would go to these first year student seminars and gave talks about my big ideas without any proof that it's already working. I had a student who said, Ziyang, I just really want to work on that project. Can I join the lab? And that was a moment for me because, all of a sudden I realized two things. One is, actually, maybe I can convince people with my ideas because I came from a trainee role and my job was to come up with ideas and work on it myself. But now I can start to assemble my team. And second was the realization was that now it is my job to pass on the knowledge and someone else's future. They're willing to put their future in my hands. And all of a sudden I have that responsibility, but also that trust, right? So it was a very special moment for me. Now I'm in this job, my only goal is to make sure my people are doing what they want to do, happy. If everybody's having a little bit of fun, I can't say a lot of fun because in the nature of science, a little bit of fun most of the time, and a lot of fun very occasionally, I think I would be very, very happy about it.